talked about the chip sector. The Wall Street Journal reporting that the US is considering tightening curbs on the export of chips to China to increase lower power chips. This is in the context of AI, of course, of which Nvidia has been the real leader in this space. It is off by 0.9%. Other players were lower. AMD actually now higher, 0.5 percentage point. Let's find out what's going on. Let's understand the impact of this industry with Bloomberg intelligence analyst Paula Penkal. So that's the reporting. The US is going to tighten the restrictions to include sort of lower powered chips that Nvidia had moved to introduce to get around the original curbs. To your mind, what is the impact here?
Well, at this stage, I think the impact on Nvidia initially is roughly $5 billion on their top line, which could potentially go away. That is their exposure to China, which is 20% of their roughly $28 billion of revenues expected for 2023. But on a broader scale, look, AI chips, AI in itself is expected to grow roughly 20-fold by 2030. So there is so much demand for AI chips, for these GPU chips that NVIDIA makes, that in the long run, I believe NVIDIA will be able to make up any loss to the China market. I would say, however, that China is a significant market. It's huge. And so I think companies like NVIDIA and others, whether it's Micron or AMD has minimal exposure, but chip companies want exposure to China so that they can partake in that upside. And this latest expansion of these sanctions suggests that that may be shut down to the chip sector in the near term.
What's so interesting about this story is we're not talking about H100, the sort of cutting edge of GPU. What NVIDIA did was design chips that fell below the threshold to require a US license to export to China. But it brings into focus China as a consumer, right, Paula? Talk to us about broadly the semiconductor industry and how much US designed chip is going into products assembled there or into Chinese products.
Well, first of all, I mean, in terms of assembly, if you look at Apple, I mean, they're trying to expand to India with their assembly operations. But the reality is China is a significant market, as I said before. Test and assembly, it's the leader in test and assembly. It does not make it has very low exposure to the advanced chips, but again, it's a growing market, and companies are sort of, in the middle of the U.S. and China's trade tensions because they want the exposure. They want to partake in that growth in the China market.
Another chip name here in the US that's confronting the China issue is Micron, reporting after the bell. What are you expecting from Micron and how they communicate their handling of this situation? Yes.
Well, Micron already announced their double-digit revenue hit by the most recent sanctions implemented by the U.S. government or by the China government. And so I expect that will not impact this particular quarter, but this quarter is going to be really bad just because you've had, sluggish demand in PCs and computers, and you have, really low and depressed memory chip prices. But many believe that this could be a trough for the company, and that's what the market hopes. I think we can't expect much from Micron for the remainder of 2024.